Level with me. Are you anybody?
I'm a writer.
A writer? Thank you, God, even for me, you listen up. Here, I'll make a deal with your agent when we get to Fogtown. Don't ask me what's wrong, because everything is wrong. We need more action, more explosions, more...
Off-road aliens, the second coming. Oh, no.
Don't say no. I hate that word.
I'm not a screenwriter. Writing
is writing. I'll even squeeze you in as an investor.
Mr. Global, I may not be good enough a writer to work on your script.
You must be a good writer. You're flying first class, aren't you? Miss Fletcher, listen. I'm the greatest deal maker in the history of Hollywood. Believe me, you will say yes to this great opportunity, even if it takes me all the way to London to talk you into it.
Yeah, well, in that case, yes, I will read it. But no promises.
Don't worry, once you get into it, you'll get hooked.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of the Cabot Cove podcast. The Cabot Cove Confab podcast.
Not hard.
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna pour me another drink here. That'll work. This is Sean,
and this is Steve.
For the time being, at least. And we are going to talk about, from Season 3, The Corpse Flew First Class.
Yes.
Which, we'll get there, but I just want to touch on a couple other things. Steve, do you have anything you want to tell the readers?
No. Do you?
Oh, yeah. Well, we promised that we would read this. We got feedback already on Apple Podcasts. And I promised that I would read the rest of it. So here it comes. Okay. And I realize that this seems very masturbatory, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. But if you want to say something bad about us on Apple Podcasts, I'll fucking read it. If you want to, send a transcript of Colado, Barato, Nictu to summon the devil, I'll read it. I'll read it. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right.
Barada. What is it? You said it wrong.
I did. Kratu, Barato, Nictu, or something like that.
Yeah.
That was in The Evil Dead, stolen from The Day the Earth Stood Still, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
All right.
It's also
this
in
is from
Star Wars Return of the Jedi.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Where? When? You're making that up.
No, I'm not. So, in Return of the Jedi, when at the very beginning of the film, when they free Han from Jabba, some of the aliens, even though they're not, their action figures were named from the Cell Barge. They had 3 aliens named after that.
Really?
And I think, you know how the Star Wars action figure aliens always had weird names like Hammerhead or Waller's Face that weren't really like the name of the character, but that's just what they called the action figure. That's my understanding.
Wow. How about that? Well, you learn something new every day. Useless, but new and interesting.
Yeah, I know. Totally useless.
All right, this is a review left by somebody named Nil Demand. Mm-hmm. I guess that means no demand. Okay. On to the next is what it's titled. I've seen every Columbo episode dozens of times, and a few years ago started Murder, She Wrote after all the episodes hit Prime.
Oh, good.
I was a little bummed I missed the party while they went through all the Columbo episodes, but after hearing their entertaining Columbo reviews, and he says, or they say here, the Marino Brothers! I'm happy to follow along as they proceed through Murder, She Wrote. Less tortuous than watching Battlefield Earth prior to their next Netflix review, too. All right. Here's from D.A. Plouf. I've been listening to Sean and Steve for 5 years now on their various podcasts, and they are simply the best. Did you get to that episode of Schitt's Creek yet, by the way? Simply the best.
Which one was that?
No, he didn't. No. Simply the best.
Okay.
No, you haven't got to that episode of Schitt's Creek yet?
I don't think so.
Okay. They have great voices, they're funny, intelligent, and make every review a blast to listen to.
Wait, what podcast is he talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Oh. You want bunny trails? These are the podcasters for you. Sure, they recap each episode thoroughly, but they will talk about alcohol. Boy, do they talk about alcohol. Cooking eggs over easy, events from their childhood like Sally's Tage, or types of sauces available from fast food chicken places in Dallas, Texas.
Wow, we talked about that?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I don't remember. Thanks, guys, for all the hours of happiness you've created for me.
Yay.
P.S. No, Sean, sadly, I am not a real DA. All right, one more thing, people. We have been doing this. This is our third episode, and we already got an email.
Wow.
All right. And if you want to email us, you can do that at ColumboConfab. No, shit. Cabot Cove Confab at gmail.com. This is from a lady named Joanne.
This episode's already going to be a shit fest. I mean, Jesus, we already screwed it up left and right. Okay, go ahead.
It's okay. People like it. I could go back and edit it, but I'm too lazy, and I want to make this feel real, like somebody's in a bar talking with us. Okay. Hi, Sean and Steve. I'm a listener from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I was very surprised and a little confused when I picked up my iPad on Wednesday night and found a notification that a new episode was available and saw the Columbo Confab icon. I had to listen right away. I found the Columbo podcast only about 2 months before it ended. At first, I listened to all the Columbo podcasts, but loved yours and stopped listening to the others. Well, that's very nice. That
nice.
feels bad for the other. You guys really love the show, as do I, and it comes through in the podcast. I found I was watching the episode after listening to you because you were bringing up things that I didn't notice. Love the banter, especially how Steve gets Sean going about if Mrs. Columbo exists.
Well, that's great for tonight's episode, but go on.
Yeah, she does. I know some people have mentioned the swearing, but it doesn't bother me at all, and I'm a 64-year-old woman. You mentioned the episodes of Murder, She Wrote that take place in Cabot Cove. My favorites are... Oh, cool, she even spells favorites with an O-U. In Season 2, Sticks and Stones. Season 4, If It's Thursday, It Must Be Beverly. Wacky episode. I remember that one. Personally, I do. Season 5, The Sins of Castle Cove. And also Season 5, Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. It's a two-parter season finale. Daniel McDonald is in the episode. He played the killer in Columbo's No Time to Die. Do you remember No Time to Die? You'll remember instantly when I tell you which one it is.
I cannot think of it. No.
It's the one where the bride gets kidnapped.
Oh, yeah. That horrible episode. Yes.
I think it's a little underrated, but okay. A really good episode in Season 1 is Lovers and Other Killers. It doesn't take place in Cabot Cove, but it's a good one. Andrew Stevens is in this one. He played Wayne Jennings in Columbo's Murder in Malibu. He plays sort of the same creepy type of character in both shows. Andrew Stevens, this is more fun facts coming your way, Steve, hold on, is the son of Stella Stevens, who played Sally Meston in the episode you just reviewed. It's funny because earlier Steve told me to go suck eggs before we started recording. Anyway, I've gone on long enough. I look forward to the next episode and wish you all the best. Same to you, Joanne, and congratulations. Thank you for being the first person to write us as if we were like something that somebody enjoyed. So that's great. Thank you.
Question. So how are we going to handle two-parters?
Well, we'll just handle two-parters like it's a one-parter.
So if the whatever wheel that we're using, if it picks episode 1 or 2, we're going to go ahead and just do both at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
makes
sense. It's not like it's Lord of the Rings or something, you know. It's
right.
Like an hour and a half long, you know. It's no problem. Okay. I see that I'm going to have to get a little bit more drunk here. So I'm going to pour myself some bourbon.
Oh, my God.
And add a little bit of bitters. And, yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the episode, The Corpse Flew First Class.
Starring...
let's talk about...
Mrs. Columbo herself.
Mrs. Columbo herself. Of course, we know her as Mrs. Columbo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody else probably knows her as Captain Janeway on Star Trek Voyager.
Or Kate McGrew.
Yeah. Or Red from Orange is the New Black. She plays an elderly Russian lady who's kind of like the mother hen of the ladies in that. How does it start? Tell me.
Well, she plays a movie starlet named Sunny Greer. And it starts off at a bank, at a safety deposit box, and she's picking up, I guess, a very expensive diamond necklace, because she's going to be heading to England, or London specifically, for a royal gala. I'm not really sure what it's about, but she's going to wear this very expensive diamond ring, and she is taking her bodyguard / lover with her, and he's going to be in charge of carrying the diamond necklace.
Yeah, his name is Leon.
Leon,
I didn't write down. Yeah.
Well, he's not going to be around. He's not going to be around much longer, so I really didn't see a need to write his name.
Yeah, he actually died shortly after this was made. Well, no, not
really.
Shortly, like 10 years after. Yeah, he died at the young old age of 35.
Holy cow! From what?
Yeah, I don't know. IMDb did not say.
Well, that's great research you've done for this podcast. Thank you.
I know. Next thing you know, we'll be recording in L.A.
Okay. So
everybody...
go ahead. I'm sorry. I was so excited to jump right in.
Okay. Yeah, everybody knows that she's wearing this necklace and she's going to go to London with it. It's in the papers, in the society papers and all that. And we meet our cast of characters in the what the pushing up roses lady called as the fancy people room at the airport. And you basically
the Travelers Club Lounge, which funny enough Sean belongs to for, is it American or no Southwest?
No, it was American, but it was because we were flying Southwest that time, right? You were flying Southwest, but because I have an American Airlines card or a credit card, you can go into their lounge and have free booze and snacks and stuff. They stopped that. You have to book an American flight in order to get on there now. Yeah,
it's funny. We went there trying to get our free drinks, which I remember the bartender being extremely slow, but we partook in the food. We did not have shrimp. What did Jessica have? She had shrimp poppers.
Shrimp puffs,
shrimp puffs.
I don't know what that is. Yeah.
No, we had because we were doing the Colombo Confab at the time. We had chili. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that at all. I don't remember having chili.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that great.
Yeah.
I partook in the cheese tray because you can't go wrong with cheese.
It sounds like it's something fancy, but really it's not. It's just like one guy with a small buffet. Anyway, yeah. So in the Travelers Club, we meet all our potential suspects. There's a plastic surgeon,
Clint,
who we meet briefly,
which,
and then
by the way,
when our victim dies, it's pretty much.
Yeah, well, he's also a suspect, but. So I'm just going to refer to Sunny Greer as Kate because that's easier for me. So is that okay?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Kate runs into, I guess it's her plastic surgeon. He's headed off to London to give somebody of royalty, something like lady something or another, a nip and a tuck, which I found very confusing because. You would think a doctor would have kind of a relationship where he doesn't want to tell who his clients are for the very reason of getting into tabloids or whatever like that. But no, he was willing to kind of give that out, but give Kate a little job if she needed it. And but yeah, so he's very interested in the necklace. We find out later, so he's going to be a suspect.
Yeah, and then we have Errol Pogson, who immediately hits on Jessica. He's a detective from Scotland Yard.
No, he's
played by... I didn't...
Oh, go ahead. He's an inspector.
He's... Inspector, I'm sorry. I get them. But, he gets some sherry for Jessica. Obviously, he really likes her. He hits on her heavy throughout the episode. And she mentions, I know Inspector Clubbins.
Crimmins.
Crimmins, yeah. And yeah, I worked with him before. Yeah, I swear to God, we pick these at random. And it just so
I want to bring that up. I want to bring that up since you did. I'm really suspicious about this randomizer thing that you've got going, because we did a review, the one where she does with Inspector Crimmins. That's the person she's with. That's in the Sing a Song of Murder episode that we reviewed last week, and then this one. Surprise, surprise, Inspector Crimmins, even though he doesn't make an on-screen appearance, he's referenced and is called upon later in the episode. So I'm very suspicious that you just kind of pull shit out, and it's not really random.
No. It is totally random. Totally random. So we also have the man who ends up sitting next to Jessica, Gunnar Goebel, played by Pat Harrington Jr.
I just call him Schneider.
You know what? Yeah, Schneider from One Day at a Time, which I never watched that show. My mom would watch it, and I just remember that Schneider was like the maintenance guy, right? He had like a mustache.
Yeah, I always watched it because of Valerie Bertinelli. Was that her name? Oh man, she was smoking hot.
She's no longer with us, right? Didn't she die?
No, she's still alive. No, her ex-husband, Eddie Van Halen, died, I think it was last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we have Mr. and Mrs. Metcalf, who are up to something very suspicious, and therefore they can't be the murderers.
So you think that was kind of a red herring, huh?
Yeah, total red herring. Because they're acting so suspicious. But obviously, Mrs. Metcalf is smuggling something in her knitting basket. That's clear from the beginning.
And then we had a businessman, I guess, Otto Hardwick.
Yes, played by Robert Walker Jr. He was in a Columbo episode. Do you remember the one with Robbie the Robot?
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately.
He played the killer's... Yeah, he plays the killer's son in that one.
Right.
And
he sleeps with the psychiatrist.
Yes, exactly. Quite a younger man. He left us last year, actually.
Really?
Very sadly.
That's sad.
And then we have conveniently, because we need it, a jeweler,
right?
John Sukahara, and he happens to be a jeweler.
He's a very nosy jeweler. He just kind of inserts himself into conversations in this episode. It's almost like there's no reason for him to be involved in a conversation. He just kind of pops up and says, "Oh, I was eavesdropping, and I wanted to say something."
Oh, I happen to be a jeweler. It's like, excuse me, is there a jeweler on board?
And he's the biggest misdirection, by the way. Because if you want to start by saying, who do you think is responsible? Who stole the diamonds? Who's the killer? Right? And he was up there primarily. Yeah, the old couple, the Metcalfs, or what was it? What was the last name of the
Metcalfs?
Metcalfs. That was an obvious, misdirection for the audience. Who else?
I think we covered everybody.
Yeah, but I felt like the jeweler was probably the most likely suspect. But
okay,
I don't know.
Oh, and then we have Kay Davis, who they call the stewardess, although nowadays we would call her a flight attendant. There's another flight attendant. There's a couple other flight attendants and a captain, but they're not really important.
Unfortunately, Jessica sits to the most annoying person on the flight, which I think we all can relate. So she sits next to Schneider, and he's a Hollywood producer. And matter of fact, he even harasses Kate McGrew early on, saying, "Hey, I've got this script. I want you to be in the film." And he's responsible for, I don't know if you've heard of these films, Sean, but it's Off-Road Aliens. So it's a series of films. I'm sure it's as bad as it sounds. But yeah, Jessica unfortunately sits next to him. He finds out that she's a writer, and so he wants her to be his script doctor. And he's going to harass her the entire flight, which, how long is it from London from the East Coast, like, I don't know, the Chicago I think they flew out of?
Boston. Out of Boston.
Oh, out of Boston to London. I'm sure that's like, what, an 8-hour flight, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So he's going to
alcohol required.
Yeah. So he's going to harass her unless she reads the script. It doesn't work. So she decides, smartful of her just to make this decision, is she decides just to read the script, just to shut him up.
Yeah.
Now he's got
nice...
the open shirt, the medallion. Yeah. He's playing that really sleazy used car salesman kind of look to him. Basically Schneider without the mustache.
Now this is basic. This is what's called a closed circle mystery, which is actually my favorite kind of mystery. And it's a closed circle because you've got a set of people that they're trapped in one place, and the murder is going to be solved by the time they're trapped somewhere. Like the classic example of this, there's two books written by Agatha Christie: Murder on the Orient Express, set on a snowbound train, and then There Were None, which is set on an island.
I felt like that. Yeah, it felt very much like Then There Were None.
Yeah, and this is my favorite kind of mystery because I just love it. But our soon-to-be victim, Leon, is afraid of flying. And I don't understand. This is a clue, but I don't really understand why. His his cassette player, his Walkman isn't working.
To help him get over his fear of flying, I guess the psychiatrist prepared a tape for him to listen to kind of, maybe it's like soothing sounds. I don't know. But it will help relax him during those stressful moments. So it doesn't work all of a sudden. Which we found out later it was sabotaged.
Yeah.
But by
who? I knew that he was going to die before I watched this because it says in the description. Yeah, on the DVD it says in the description. But he goes to the bathroom. He bumps into Otto Hardwick. They start serving drinks. The flight attendant sucks. She gives Errol tomato juice when he asked for sherry. He really likes that dry sherry, I tell you. Have you ever had dry sherry? Yes, it's the first thing I've ever gotten drunk on.
Wow.
Yeah, I was having a murder mystery party, and I had a recipe that required sherry. So while I was cooking, I just had a little bit, and that was the first time I ever felt drunk.
And the start to your illustrious podcasting career.
Exactly. Yeah. And here we are, dun dun dun. Texas.
So we learned that the flight attendant is her name Kim? I think it's Kim.
I wrote it down. Kay Davis.
Kay
Davis.
So she's very distracted. She's passing out wrong drinks. She's got a lot on her mind, and we find out why later. But yeah, she gives Jessica white wine. Oh, you know what? You mentioned, I think it was last episode or maybe the episode before, that she really doesn't drink. Every episode we've watched, she's been drinking. So she's drinking a white wine here. She had a dry sherry earlier with Errol. So I'm kind of confused.
Dandelion wine. She had wine in a restaurant in the last episode we did. Yeah, maybe I'm mixing her up with the Jessica that's in the books. That she never. The books are pretty decent, but it always bothered me that the books are told in the first person from Jessica's point of view. But anyway, so Jessica chastises the flight attendant because you never have red wine.
She doesn't chastise her.
I don't.
That's not.
But she says something like, "Oh, I would never have red wine with fish," and people. When you're on a flight, don't eat the fish.
No. Get the chicken or the beef.
Exactly. Everybody knows.
That's funny.
Oh, and Kate goes upstairs because there's an upstairs because it's the 80s and fancy airlines like this would always have an upstairs. Usually with somebody playing an organ like in that Columbo episode. And the doctor's up there reading the paper with a glass of wine, and she just goes up and talks to him and takes his glass of wine. I'd be like, bitch, that's my glass of wine.
Not only that, on the flight, it's like a $5 glass of wine. So, what I was going to say, the in-flight movie. Now, it looked like it was from the Blues Brothers. I'm not real sure. It's been a long time since I've seen that film. But the way that Schneider is reacting to the screen, kind of wondering if it was really a porno that they were watching.
It looks like the worst action movie somebody ever did. This is not the French Connection, people. And the way it ends is the car's about to go off the road, but they hit the brakes right in time, and it says, "The End." And everybody's been watching it, so they take their headphones off. Jessica she gave up on it like 30 minutes ago. It's just not up to par for her.
So when Kate does go up to the upper cabin for, to speak with Clint and take a sip of his wine, Clint makes an offer. He's like, "Hey, I know you're traveling with the necklace. It's well known, and I want to offer you to buy it." And she, of course, refuses, saying that, "No, it's been in my family far too long. It's too important." So that kind of puts him on the suspect list when the necklace does go missing.
Right, definitely. Actually, he's like suspect number 1 almost.
Almost, yeah.
And right after the movie, Kay sees that they're hitting some turbulence, so they have to fasten their seatbelt. And Kay, the stewardess, goes to wake up Leon to tell him to put on his seatbelt, and he slumps over dead. And I don't know, she screams a little bit too readily, like, okay, I don't know, whatever. But anyway, he's dead. The doctor finds out, he probably had a heart attack or something. But of course, this is Murder, She Wrote, and that's not what happens in murder mysteries. It was poison, ladies and gentlemen. Poison. And Jessica finds this out because later they take the corpse upstairs the lounge. I don't know how they took that corpse up there because they just have that windy staircase thing that terrifies me. Yeah. And she finds out later on his fingernails are blue.
Yeah, and then, of course, they're like, well, when we land, we're going to have to get Scotland Yard involved. And Errol pipes up, says, well, I'm Scotland Yard. I'm on the case. So he takes over and starts his investigations immediately.
I want to say he says something to Jessica. He takes her aside and he said, I haven't gotten a promotion in so long. If I were to able to solve this murder and the theft, I could be promoted to, I can't remember what it was,
chief constable or chief investigator or something.
And instantly, I'm like, it's him. It's him. It's got to be him. Instantly. That's what I thought going into this. He did it.
But what would be his motive? Because he wants to be promoted?
His motive would be to stage this bogus theft and then solve it, quote unquote, and then be promoted. Because he wasn't, this gets into later on, he was just planning a theft, not a murder. The murderer is somebody else. But I thought that he was the murderer. I just didn't figure out how he did it. Yeah,
he was just trying to impress Jessica at this point. So,
yeah.
Errol says he's going to search everybody in first class. He's going to check their baggage, their luggage. And then Schneider pipes up, which is probably one of the reasons this kind of attitude is why Americans are hated so much overseas. He says, you're not going to... He said something along the lines like, you're not going to check my bag because I'm an American and I'm on an American plane and I voted for Donald Trump. I know he didn't. I don't know. So, yeah. What?
I voted for Ronald Reagan.
Well, I remember back in the 80s, people would say the French were the worst tourists. Like no one liked the French when they would come visit their country. And then I know there was a recent survey done, I don't know, the past 5 years, and we, as Americans, have surpassed the French. Now, everybody hates Americans when we go overseas. Not because of our political or whatever reasons. It's because we're such assholes. And I not too long ago, I went to one of those all-inclusive resorts in Jamaica, and it was primarily fat, pale Americans that were in this resort, and they were so disgusting. They were the grossest people, and I can only imagine what other people, the people that were working in that resort, which were the locals, they must just hate us with they were just the most rude and obnoxious. And the kids were little shits.
Yes.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be with the Americans when I travel.
Yes. Let me tell you a story. We went to Ireland maybe 5 years ago. We went to Ireland, and Tom, my partner, knew that I love like castles and old castles and shit like that. So if we're going to go to Ireland, we're not going to stay at the Marriott. We're going to stay at some of these old castles, and like he really spared no expense. Like, I hate planning, so I just let him do it.
Wasn't one of them? Wasn't the room haunted? Was that the one that you were telling me about?
Yes, yes. Somebody somebody tied up the drapes while we weren't there. But the first castle we get to, I'm like so excited. I'm like, okay, now let's go to the bar and let's order a Guinness. We're gonna drink Guinness in Ireland. Of course, I drank Guinness, and then he asked for some Irish Scotch, and I was like, oh my God, Tom, no, because Scotch is from Scotland. That's why it's called Scotch. Mm-hmm. There's Irish whiskey, of course, but Scotch is Scotch. And anyway, there's like 4 or 5 little kids in the main like lobby running around back and forth. Like 2 moms are there. The 2 moms are talking. I'm like, this is unacceptable. I did not go to this fancy castle hotel thing to see little children running around. Like, we need to be solving mysteries in this castle. This is not a nursery, goddammit. And the last place we were at, and that was the haunted place, we had to wake up in the morning, God forbid, because we had to catch a flight or a train or something. And it was just the 2 of us in this nice little breakfast room. There's a buffet set out, and there's, little, wonderful things to have for breakfast. A continental breakfast, but really good. Not like the type of thing that you would get, if you were at the Hilton. And this fat-ass American sits right next to our table, takes some food, and he's doing this. I can't see him. He's behind me, but this is what I hear.
Oh, God. No, stop.
And I'm like,
please.
I swear to God, you look like such a buffoon. And you know what? This asshole probably makes $300,000 a year as some corporate cocksucker. I'm like, I hate Americans. But, Steve, I think there is one nation that surpasses us. I think. And this is going to get so racist in a second. Apparently, they don't. People in the service industry don't enjoy serving on the Chinese.
Really?
Apparently, yeah, they're not.
Where'd you get that little tidbit of information?
From people who live in Asia.
Okay. The Chinese, really?
Like,
why is that?
Yeah, and when you go to, because they're really loud and obnoxious, I guess.
Even more than Americans? Okay.
Yeah, that's what people like in Thailand think, and in Japan as well. I've actually been told this by Thai and Japanese people. Well, they love Americans.
But Japanese people don't like Chinese. They've always, there's always been a hatred there. So that doesn't surprise me.
You know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
I like Chinese.
No, stop. No, stop. No,
okay,
stop.
Okay.
No, you're getting you're stepping over those very.
I was going to sing the Monty Python song.
Yes, it is a Monty Python song, but it's the reason it's not played anymore. So I think we just stop that. Okay, let's get back to Murder, She Wrote.
The story.
Yes,
why we're here in the first place. Christ. Okay.
Okay, so Jessica offers to help Errol in his investigations. And that's when we find out that he would love to be able to solve both cases before they land, and so I guess Kate McGrew is upset that she goes, why is Jessica helping in the investigations, and so Jessica goes, look, I understand.
By the way,
I'll be the first to submit to being searched. Yeah, what?
And then she proceeds to search her own bag, by the way. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't. But go on.
So I had to mention this. The title of this episode is it took its inspiration from the title of Jessica's first book, which was The Corpse Danced at Midnight. So we have The Corpse Flew First Class. Just FYI. Didn't realize that until today.
You can only say dead body in so many ways, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
And this is one of my favorite scenes. After, so they're talking about the diamond and how it's worth, $2 million, I think they said, or maybe $2 to $3 million. And Mr. Sukahara, who's the diamond or the jeweler who had cut a famous diamond in the 80s. I forgot which one it was, but he just happens to Oh, I'm sorry. I was overheard, but this is how I would steal, or how if I were to steal the necklace, this is what I would do. I'd sell it on the, I'd break it apart, sell it in the black market, European black market, and which is just awkward. Like, there's no reason for him to have jumped in like that. But I liked when he tells Errol, he's like, and he says this kind of enthusiastically with a little bit of an upturned grin on his face. He says, If you care to, you can search me now. Little weird. I think that was the whole reason. I think he wanted to be searched. He wanted a body search. Probably was a little disappointed that Errol didn't do a strip search, but whatever.
You notice there's there's a couple other people that they don't even touch on that are in this. They're basically just extras.
Yeah.
And like the smoking guy, there's a guy who's constantly smoking because there's the smoking section and the non-smoking section.
Yeah, and it's not. It's more than 5 feet away from each section. Cannot imagine.
God, do you remember when people used to smoke on airplanes? How could we deal with that? My God, that's disgusting.
I'm always surprised when I'm on a flight and there's still those little ashtrays and the little arm rests. It's like, what are these for now? And all it is people put their gum wrappers in.
Yeah, and there's an ashtray in the bathroom, even though there's a no smoking sign there, obviously.
Yeah.
Humans. Yeah. Anyway.
But during this time, Jessica goes up into the upper lounge area. She investigates the body and finds that the bodyguard, what was his name again? Leon? Leon has some of the nastiest nails I've ever seen on a man's hands. But they're all tinted blue, which indicates poison. Didn't know that was a thing. But yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing either. Yeah, I mean, maybe if he smelled of almonds, that's cyanide. But I've never heard of the blue tinted nails.
And his fingernails were trimmed way too close to the cuticle. And it looks funky. I know guys do that. It almost looks like they probably bite their nails. That's what it looked like. Like he was a nail biter. And it just did not look... Men don't need to have long nails, but they don't need to be so short that it looks painful. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm a nail biter. I've been all my life.
I did not know that.
One bad habit. Yeah, it's been my first bad habit, and it's I would always tell myself, okay, I'm going to quit biting my nails, and I picked up so many other bad habits since then.
The way?
It's who gives a shit?
You didn't drop that one, did you?
I don't know.
Do you still bite your nails then?
Mm-hmm.
Masturbation, probably.
Oh yeah, there's that. Drinking, smoking, but I gave that one up. Turns out it's really bad if you smoke if you have asthma. Who knew?
Yeah, could imagine.
So we have to talk about Mr. and Mrs. Metcalf because these people are they're so nervous. I mean, they're so obviously suspect that they can't. If they're that they could be the murderers, like a certain other episode that we won't talk about just yet until we talk about it. But you've seen it. I know you've seen it. It's like the most violent episode of Murder, She Wrote ever. But anyway, they are so suspicious that it's it can't be them. And so Errol goes to... Oh, no. Errol and Jessica are looking at...
The flight logs.
The flight logs, because who booked their flight, whoever booked their flight, within the shortest time excuse me. Kate and her boyfriend booked the flight the same day, right?
Right.
So the murderer must have booked the flight after them.
Right.
Because he or she found out that they were on the flight and that they wanted to kill him and get the necklace. And the only person that qualifies for that is Mr. Sukahara, the jeweler. Mm-hmm. So that makes him look suspicious.
Right.
But I think it's a red herring. I don't think it's him, personally. I never suspected him because I'm totally on Errol. I'm thinking it's Errol. It's got to be Errol. He's doing this for his career. And
but they also
find out.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, they also find out that the stewardess, one of the stewardess, has changed her. She has swapped shifts with another, so she can be on that flight. And so when they
Oh
go,
my God, this.
yeah, when they go to investigate, look at all the bags with the Stewarts, they go through hers and they find the necklace. Oh, and I do like at one point they're like, well, why did you decide to take the shift? And because she wants to be on a date with another pilot from a different airlines, and we find out another stewardess has been dating the exact same pilot. His name's what? Bernie,
I don't know.
Hollins. And I think Bernie gets around. I mean, he's obviously a really slutty dude. He probably looks a lot like Schneider, I would imagine.
But when this is revealed, it's like, Bernie, I'm always with him in Paris. Well, I'm with him in London. And then we cut to Errol, and then Jessica's behind him laughing. Did you notice that? She gets a big kick out of this.
Yeah. And the joke's on the other stewardess because the other one had STDs, and now they both have the same.
Yeah, that's what happens.
They both have herpes. Yeah.
Yep, it's the 80s.
It's like, why is it itch down there? You got that too? Sorry.
So,
yeah. Well, we find out why the old couple. Which, by the way, the wife, I think it's the same actress that played in the TV show Different Strokes. I think she was the housemaid before Mrs. Garrett, or after.
I know who you're talking about, but no, that's not her.
It's not?
I recognize her. No, I recognize her from being in the movie Serial Mom, which is a John Waters movie with Kathleen Turner.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I think I may have.
Okay.
I know.
I Franklin Mint.
I know. I've seen the trailer. Did I see the movie? I don't know. It's so long ago. But yeah. So they find the necklace in her bag. Did we say this? I'm already lost. So they found the necklace, but
in the flight attendant's bag. And Mr. Sakahura
butts in out of nowhere. He's not even in that conversation. He's not even in the scene. All of a sudden, he just shows up and he pushes people out of the way with his little jeweler eyepiece. He's like, "Nope, it's a fake," and then he disappears. Like, what the fuck? Was that a drive-by jeweler? Come on.
And I love how he's got his little eyepiece with him at all times, apparently, just in case someone needs him to appraise some
very
jewelry.
Suspicious. I don't know how you're not suspecting him already. But yeah, we find out the old couple, the reason they're so nervous is because they're smuggling their little toy dog, Bert, on board.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's interesting because Bert doesn't look like a Bert to me. Maybe a Bert Weena, because Bert has bows in his ears and a pink collar, rhinestone collar.
Yeah.
I don't think Bert. I think Bert has some identity issues then, because they dress him up like a girl. I don't know. I mean, that's fine. That's fine. Hey, modern society.
Well,
that's fine.
Well, you know what? The thing is, sometimes you get an animal and you think it's a boy or a girl, and you give it a boy name, and then you go to the vet and you find out it's a girl, or vice versa. I had a coworker.
How do you confuse that? That makes no sense to me. If it's got little peas and carrots, then it's a boy, and if it's got a little pita pocket, then it's a girl.
Well, I know you just got to look for the balls, whether or not they're there. But sometimes if the animal's been spayed or neutered, it's not. But I had a coworker. She had a cat, and they named him Earl. Mm-hmm. And they brought Earl to the vet, and it turned out that Earl was female. So then Earl became Earl the Girl.
Earl the Girl?
Yeah. Which is so cute. Sorry. Yeah, okay, so we're going to get back to the Metcalfs and their dog a little bit later. The reason that they're smuggling the dog in her knitting bag and is because if you bring a dog to England, there's a 6-month quarantine. I don't know if that's real or not. I know that there's a quarantine time.
I think there is.
There is a quarantine time, but I don't think it's as much as 6 months.
I don't know about that, yeah.
Okay.
So Earl, I guess, is getting a little frustrated, so he goes upstairs in the lounge and grabs another dry sherry. Boy, he loves those dry sherries.
Yeah.
And he takes the opportunity to ask Jessica out on a date to the Savoy Grill.
Yeah, that's not too shabby a place. And that's like really fancy.
Really? And she seems to be, like willing to entertain that. Like she's all for. Maybe it's the she likes the British accent. I don't know, but she's all for going out with Earl. Yeah,
a little Sauvignon Blanc, and she gets really loose. Earl,
right.
that Jessica. But,
well, she is mixing her drinks in this episode.
Well, just don't give her red wine, otherwise she'll fucking freak out. Like it's like
she didn't freak out.
She did. She's like, "Oh no!"
But
that's the best I can.
They do find out that Hardwick has been booking multiple flights, though. So
at the same time.
So he's now. That's very suspicious. Why would he book so many flights at the same time?
Right. Yeah. And so now he's suspect number one, which means he can't be the murderer.
No.
Okay. That's the rule. If somebody is suspect number one, they can't be the murderer.
Well, he might be on business trips. He might have to go back and forth between London every few weeks. I mean, I don't know.
But he booked multiple trips on planes at the same time. So, and probably spent millions of dollars doing it.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. So, okay, so he's our guy. So we're going to go search his bag. And there's a clue. And it's in this I don't know what I call mine. The bag that you put your toiletries in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do I call it? I call it the toiletry bag. I don't know. And it's suspicious because earlier, Jessica heard him with an electric razor in the bathroom.
Right.
But if he has an electric razor, why, Steve? Why would he have a can of shaving cream?
And we find out that he buys the shaving cream from the exact same place that Dennis Nerdy from Jurassic Park buys his shaving cream.
Maybe he has embryos in there. My God,
he has
dinosaur embryos in there.
Dinosaur embryos in that shaving cream because it is in fact an empty shaving cream, which I didn't really know that they sell. You can buy those.
Yeah.
Empty shaving creams.
I remember in the.
I thought about buying one.
Yeah. I remember in the, and I don't know if it was Sharper Image or if it was the in-flight catalog that they used to have. That company went bankrupt a few years ago.
Yeah.
There was like a fake stone you could get to put outside to put a key in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was so cool. In case you don't have any real stones, and that you could put your key under in your front yard.
I always like going through that catalog, and it was like, that is such a neat idea. But I'll never buy that in a million years. And I would love. Wow, I love flipping through it. I thought that was more entertaining the read through than the in-flight magazine. Where they do interviews and restaurant reviews and stuff. Whatever. I wanted to look through that Sky Mall magazine. That was my favorite.
Sky Mall. That's it. Yeah. I want. Look at this. It's a litter box and it's a potted plant. Only at 50,000 feet would this seem like a good idea.
Well, one of them was it looked like a dog. It was a dog crate, but it was disguised as an end table. They also
remember that. Yes.
Yeah, they had They had Bigfoot statues you could stick in your yard. I don't know why you would want that. Yeah, it would be entertaining. I just don't. Why would you do that? They had the faces.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
the Lord of the Rings chess set.
The ring. You could buy the ring. You could buy faces to attach to your tree in the front yard, so it looked like it was a living tree. It had a face, like smiling or frowning, or you know what I mean. It looks like it's part of the bark, but it's like you hammer it into the tree itself, like eyes and a mouth and stuff. What else did they have? They had nose trimmers. Yeah, they had socks with individual toes.
You know what I remember? You know what I remember? They had. You know what they had? They had this big pillow thing that you could bring with you on a flight. Uh-huh. And if you were a stomach sleeper, you could sort of lean into this big pillow and fall asleep like that. I never saw anybody with that on an airplane, and I've been on hundreds of flights. I tell you. Whatever. Okay.
And that's why they went out of business, because no one bought it.
Yeah,
and you could buy. They had a King Tut coffin that you could put your books in. I always thought that would be something Michael Jackson would want. What else did they have? They had like this. Oh, they had the globe. They had like a big world globe that would open up, and it would be a cocktail. That you would have like shot glasses and your drinks and stuff like that. That was neat.
Yeah, I remember the movie Drop Dead Gorgeous. The dad had that.
Oh, really? That was probably their only sale for that particular item. They had the world map that was literally the size, like it was like 10 feet long and 20 feet tall. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
Like who
the crossword puzzle?
You know, the crossword puzzle that took up the whole wall. Like who would want that?
And I've never seen any of that shit in anybody's home.
No,
anyway.
That's why they went out of business, because no one will buy it.
There's I don't know if it's still up on YouTube.
Or the shoe shine buffer machine? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen that. I've seen that in bathrooms in offices. Mm-hmm. But nobody dresses up that much anymore. So, there's a lady that made a song on YouTube. It's called Sky Mall Kitties. Okay. And it's just like a song showing all the different kitties that are in Sky Mall. And don't ask me how it goes. It's been a few years. But yeah.
Kitties.
So they find... Okay, so they go through his shit and they find the shaving cream. And oh my God, why does he have shaving cream? And it turns out that the necklace is inside the shaving cream. So here comes Kate. And of course, here comes the jeweler. Because he's got his little eye thing in.
Oh, he's in there. He
verifies.
just inserts himself into that conversation.
This is the real necklace. Okay, we're going to take it into evidence, though. Kate, or Miss Greer, or whatever her name is, will get in contact with you later so you can have the necklace back.
Because he needs
if
it for
I were
evidence,
her,
yeah.
I'd be like, no! I want my $2 million necklace. No, you're not going to take it into evidence. But she doesn't really care, I guess.
Yeah. So, I like that that Hardwick. Yeah, one of the clues, because I know you like clues, is Hardwick says, "Yes, I'm the one that stole the necklace," and he reluctantly says, "And I killed the bodyguard or Leon," and so Errol ties him up with yarn, which that seems like it wouldn't work.
Like if this guy was like a terrorist, my God, does somebody have any yarn I can use to tie this guy up? Yeah. Did you ever see the video of the guy that they duct taped to the chair? He was getting out of hand, so the flight attendants just duct taped him to the fucking chair.
No, I have not seen that.
Yeah, this is an actual thing. I think parents should be able to do that. If your child's getting out of hand, duct tape them to a chair.
No, parents don't do that. But while the kid needs to be duct taped, yes, I agree. The parents don't seem to care. That's the problem. It always frustrates me when parents let their kids run rampant like that. But so I guess whenever Hardwick says, "Oh, I gotta say," so this happens when they find out that Hardwick is the killer / jewel thief. I noticed that the video was only about 35 minutes in, and that's a 48-minute episode. And I'm like, whoa, whoa. There's something not right here. We've got another 12 minutes, at least, before this show ends, and we've already wrapped it up? No, there's something fishy going on here, Sean. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, it's too neat, is what it is.
Yeah.
And, it's like, oh, yes, I killed him. And I'm like, no, it's not him. Something's up. It's not him.
Yeah.
And Errol and Hardwick are getting out of the plane. They're like, oh, somebody from Customs needs to see you. And
oh, we got to say this. We do find out that Jessica, before the plane lands, she's on the phone with Scotland Yard, and she's talking to, what was his name? They would say
Inspector Cribbins.
No, not Cribbins.
Crimmins?
You're thinking Dr. Yeah, Crimmins. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. It is Crimmins. Inspector Crimmins. So she's on the phone with him. So he does kind of, in a way, make an appearance. And,
yeah, let me just go. Yeah. Wait, I want to back up a little while. Because, the phone is used like twice during the episode. It's a fucking phone on a plane. That was a thing, I guess?
I guess.
Because I remember a lot of airlines, they would have a phone that you could use that was in the head seat or the seat in front of you, and you would just take the phone and then swipe a credit card, and you could call anybody. That, yeah. And I remember one time my mom's boss called her just so he could do that. That must be the shittiest. I don't know. Anyway, they probably still do have that phone on planes, just in case, you know.
Well, I like that you get to see Jessica's MasterCard too.
Oh yeah.
So apparently this episode's being brought to you by MasterCard and United Airlines.
So so Errol and Hardwick, they go up to customs there, and Jessica's there, and she's
waiting for him.
Okay, guys, the gig's up. And she says the minute that Hardwick said yes, I'm the killer, she knew they were both in it together, because he basically didn't have a motive for killing Leon. Because all he needed to do was switch the necklace in Leon's pocket with the fake necklace without killing him. All right? Mm-hmm. So why would he admit to that? And she explains to them, you know, you're in it together. You've got the necklace. You weren't on your way to Scotland Yard just now. You're on your way to home. And I really thought, okay, that's it. That's it. But then I thought, wait a minute. Is it? No,
who's the killer?
Why would he? Yeah, who's the killer? And what I like is that when they walk out, Errol kind of gives Jessica like a hi-ho, like totally, we could have totally like got it on, but you had to fuck it up by solving a fucking crime. Thanks, Jessica. I'll think of you in prison.
You would have got some of this British sausage later, but not now.
Yeah.
I would have had your tea and crumpets, but whatever. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Blood sausage. No.
Why'd you say that? It's so gross.
So Jessica's like, and you know, I thought he was the murderer, and it does make sense. How, you know, why would he have done it if Hardwick stole the necklace? Why would Errol then kill Leon? But she's like, oh, well, everybody else is just getting into customs now. Maybe we can meet them. And the first people that she comes up to are the Metcalfs with their dog. And I'm like, oh my God, it would be so cool if it was the Metcalfs. But it's you know what? No. They trick you. She just says something on the lines of, oh, if you go to France, they don't have a quarantine, so you can take your pup to France with you.
Right.
And they're like, oh, okay, we'll do that. And then they move on. But then Kate comes out. Mm-hmm. And we realize that the murderer is none other than Mrs. Columbo herself.
Yes.
Kate Mulgrew, also known as Miss Greer, Miss Sunny Greer.
Yeah. So she finds out that Leon was trying to work his way up and was going to sleep with, I guess, one of the VP's wives or something. I'm not real sure. But so she wanted Leon all to herself, and she couldn't have it. So she had to kill him. Makes sense.
So she broke his she broke his cassette player, and then she knew he was afraid of flying, so she would give him some of her drugs because she was taking like a muscle relaxer or a Xanax or something. But instead she gave him poison. Now, that was the most obvious solution. What I like about this is that was the most obvious solution, and it was right under our noses the whole time.
Yeah,
because I never thought it would be her. Did you?
No.
And
I wouldn't think there'd be two cases at the same time. And it was weird because Errol and Hardwick weren't expecting for Leon to die. The whole thing was that they were just going to steal the necklace. And it was just...
Right.
And I enjoyed because Errol must be thinking, what the fuck is going on? Because his role was to, you know, nab the jewel thief in case he got caught. But be there to be the arresting officer... and then escort him off the plane, and then they would get away scot-free. I'm thinking, so, like, when the diamonds ended up in the stewardess's bag, and, like, things going back and forth, he must be thinking, what the fuck? What is going on?
Yeah. Now, I watched the Pushing Up Roses episode on this online. By the way, I watched a couple of her videos. We mentioned her before, and I don't want to mention her every episode or anything, but she's brilliant. This lady has a YouTube channel called Pushing Up Roses, and she has picked a few Murder, She Wrote episodes, probably the most popular, and she's done sort of like a funny little commentary on them. In fact, for this one, she does bring up Mrs. Columbo, and I ended up watching it, enjoying it, of course. And then at the end, I had the option to click to some other review she did, and she did a review, or she had a little, she did a review or a conversation or a video, what do you want to call it, on King's Quest, the old 1980s Sierra Software video game. Remember that game? Uh-huh. And it was fascinating. She talked about that game was made. Sierra was founded by a couple, and the guy did the programming, and the girl did all the stories and the twists and the puzzles and all that. But
no, I didn't know.
Really
that.
Good stuff. Yeah,
I know she did an episode on Columbo too. I think it was more of a entire series kind of discussion, not an episode like she does with Murder, She Wrote.
And also a making of Clue, the movie.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was good.
Yeah.
The last person to get off the flight is Schneider.
Oh my God!
And I don't understand this. So, Jessica gives him back his script. I guess she's worked on it, and she makes like, okay, I've worked it, so now it's not going to be a great artsy fartsy film. And so the customs guy says, do you have anything to declare? And he takes the script. He goes, "This is a dud." And he starts laughing. Jessica starts laughing. And I'm there scratching my head like, why are they laughing? I don't understand what's going on. It's like, is there a joke? Did I miss the joke? I don't understand what's happening.
There has to be a joke so that they can freeze frame Jessica laughing and then run the credits on that.
I would send Schneider a bill. Like, okay, I've worked on it for 8 hours. You need to pay me, whatever, $50. I don't know.
Yeah, my flight to London. You have to pay for that. I couldn't drink because of this. Yeah, I want to take a tally. How many episodes end with a freeze frame of Jessica laughing? Because that's got to be a lot. Yeah, I'll have to take care of that. So I've been taking notes. I've been taking a tally of
okay.
The types of murders, the means, and the genders of the various murderers, and so far we have 1 poisoning, 1 hit and run, 1 hanging, 1 female victim, 2 male victims, 2 female murderers, and 4 male murderers. So 3 episodes, we've got 6 murderers because of that first one over there. So yeah. So I guess it's time to review this thing.
Okay. So, a lot of numbers. Always a lot of numbers in these episodes. But I decided to go with something a little different. I decided to go with 3 dry sherries. Because that's how...
3 dry sherries?
Yeah. So, Errol ordered 3 dry sherries throughout the episode. Now, one of them did turn out to be a tomato juice. But technically, that would be hard to review out of 2, so I'm going to count it as 3 times he's ordered dry sherries. Mm-hmm. So, how would you rate it out of 3? 1 out of 3.
Well, I know we've only done 3 episodes so far, but this one is the best so far. I really like this one. I'm going to give it 2 3/4 dry sherries.
Okay.
What I really love, number one, I love closed mysteries like this. People set in one place. And I don't know if maybe I had seen this before when it was first on, and maybe subconsciously I remembered, but I was so sure it was Errol. Like, he just took charge so easily, and this story just confuses you and sets you, the necklace, the murder, the necklace. And I've read enough mysteries that I should know that if there's been a murder and a theft, it may not have been done by the same person. There might be 2 different people, or in this case, 3 different people. So it bamboozled me. It did exactly what it was supposed to be. It did to me what I'm sure the writer meant it to be, and that is to confuse and mislead me, and point away from really who the most obvious suspect is, and who had the best access, the best way to poison the guy, was the person sitting right next to him. Because there was they put your focus on the theft, on the jewelry, but everybody's assuming that it's the same person, but nobody asks. Well, wait a minute. If it was, Schneider, it's say, for instance, I'm just picking a person. How did he get the poison into Leon's glass? Or if it was Hardwick, how did he do it? Mm-hmm. He has the necklace. But why would he, kill to steal it when all he has to do is pickpocket? Yeah, there's a lot of diversion in this, and I really like that. And so I really, really enjoyed this one. I'm done. Yeah, you go ahead and say what you thought about it.
Okay, well, I too enjoyed this quite a bit. So out of 3, I'd give it a 2. I think that's pretty fair. Some of the things I did have a problem with is the misdirection with Sakihara. Now, even if he wasn't a criminal, if he wasn't the person who stole the jewelry, I think he was on that flight for that very reason, because he had a reason what he would do with it. He booked the flight the same day that the flight took place, like as if he found out. I think he was looking to retire with that robbery. I think in some way he was going to take it, and that's why he was interjecting himself. So I was really surprised that he wasn't somehow involved. But I like maybe in my headcanon that he intended to do that, but just got beat out.
You know what? I could see the actor making that story up in his mind. Okay, this is how I'm going to act, because there's no other reason I would have my eyepiece on this flight and all that. Yeah. I like how he pointed out he just sort of appears and then disappears just to be there.
He's a ninja.
He's just there to verify. In reality, he's just really there to verify whether or not the necklace is real or not. Just like the doctor's there to verify that the guy's dead. After he proclaims that Leon is dead, we don't really see him anymore.
Or maybe he works for the insurance company. Maybe they're like, okay, Mrs. Columbo, whatever. Kate she's going to be taking this jewelry to this overseas. It's worth $2.5 million. We need a guy that's going to watch it. Make sure she's who's a jeweler who knows fakes, and he has a background in jewelry. This is one of our biggest client. We need to make sure that somebody's watching that jewelry for us.
That is not unrealistic, because I think at the Oscars, when we have actresses who literally they wear this jewelry, they borrow it from certain jewelers, like Leon Lamar. Jeweler Leon Lamar.
Yes. Stole his nephew's his lotto number.
Yeah, that was Columbo references. And I think they literally will have people, usually a bodyguard type from the insurance company on hand to make sure that nothing happens to it. Mm-hmm. And that will take it from them at the end of the night and make sure that it goes to the right place.
And maybe that was in the original script. We don't know. But something else that something I did have a problem with the plot was when so the switcheroo happened when Leon decided, okay, my headset's not working. I'm going to throw up. So I'm going to go to the bathroom. Just kind of find my calm spot, my calm place, and find center in the universe. So he goes up to that bathroom. And as he passes, that's when Hardwick passes him and does a quick, pickpocket and switches out. I don't know how he did it so easily. But so Hardwick had to have been waiting in the bathroom to make that that switch. How would he have known that Leon would be like, oh, one, how do you know Leon was carrying it? And two, how do you know when Leon would get up and be distressed from, air sickness and make the switch?
Yeah.
That was totally that was totally coincidental.
You are absolutely right, and this is the worst episode ever now.
Okay, so you want to re-rate
it?
No,
but you're right. I mean, you would have to wait for him to go to the bathroom, but the problem is, or you wait for him to come back from the bathroom and then run into
So is Hardwick just going back and forth, waiting for that special opportunity?
That's why he was shaving in the bathroom, because who does that? Who does that? Who shaves in a bathroom in an airplane? Okay, all right. Yeah, you're right.
But it was still an enjoyable episode. I watched it twice. Once for
really,
I wanted to watch it once just to kind of enjoy it, and then the second time to review it. So I enjoyed it both times. That's why I'm going to stick with my number, but highly recommended. Just a few things. I mean, it's hard to fit. When you have an episode and you have all these suspects into a 45-minute episode, not even that, it's a 35-minute episode. It's going to be, you've got, you don't have that much time to really investigate or explore the characters like you do in a 2-hour film, like on, Murder on the Orient Express, where we get to see and find out about the characters and develop that relationship and why, why they would be a suspect or whatever their story is. We don't have time for that, so I can kind of see them kind of cutting things out.
And they did it well. That's the thing. I mean, some of the characters were a little over the top. The married couple with the dog, they were a little over the top.
Yeah.
Gunnar, the movie producer, he was a little over the top, but it was fine because it's they did well. They did really well. I'm watching it again right now, obviously with mute on, and when they first get on the plane and the flight attendant's coming around and collecting people's coats, Kate Mulgrew is talking to Leon, and she's just holding out her coat with her left hand, which, by the way, she puts on later on. She must have anemia or something because she must be so uncomfortable in that fucking white coat. Anyway, I'm glad that we both are on the same page about this, and we like it.
And so, apparently she then serves time in London, and she comes back to America, marries Frank, and the rest is history.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Steve. It's that time again. We are going to, or you are going to, spin the season 4 wheel.
I can't wait.
Find out what we'll be watching next, okay?
Please be in Cabot Cove. Please be in Cabot Cove. Please be in Cabot Cove.
Okay. I can't make any promises here, but
sure.
Just saying. Let me know once you've spun it.
All right, I'm spinning it now.
All right, it's going to be the first episode of season 4.
Oh.
And it's called A Fashionable Way to Die.
Okay. First episode.
Okay. Huh? Yeah, first episode of season 4. Wait, this was season 4. Yeah, it is. A Fashionable Way to Die. And I'm not sure, but I was looking through Peacock today. This one might be one set in Paris, so I'm really sorry, Steve.
Oh my god. That sounds like it.
Yeah, so sorry, not a Cabot Cove episode, but you know what? When you look at it, we've gone to Wyoming, we've gone to London, maybe now we're going to Paris. This makes it like an international type thing. Like Jessica is basically James Bond.
I do not see that at all.
Do you not see what? Jessica's James Bond, or
yeah?
Oh, okay, all right. I thought maybe you didn't see the episode on Peacock.
No. Just don't. Yeah, no, I can't. I mean, yes, she likes to drink apparently, but
I'm going to have to. You know what? I insist on finding an episode where she doesn't drink. So, all right, Steve. I guess that's it with the corpse. Corpse flew first class.
Yeah.
They should. Yeah, it should have been. You know what? It should have been in Coach. They don't call it that anymore. They don't call it Coach, but the corpse flew Coach doesn't have the same same sort of ring to it.
No.
And also, there were a lot of people in first class on this thing. I'm going to tell you that they didn't need to hire all those extras. All right, Steve. Say the obligatory goodbye.
All right, everyone. Have a good night. I can't wait until next week when we go to Paris. With
ask
Bert.
Ask yourself, people. Joan Collins or Joan Rivers? Oh, Joan, my wife. Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Cabot Cove Confab. If you've enjoyed it, please leave us a favorable review on Apple Podcasts. Also, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter at Cabot Cove Confab or email us at cabotcoveconfab@gmail.com.